Today on the Tim Marner podcast show, we've got Ian Richards. Work to live. Work to live. Talk to me about that, Ian. How did you come up with that? What's your background? Financial planning.
Yeah, so background is very much like most people fell into it. Did some exams, thought I knew what I was doing. Joined a firm, very product-led advice. Was doing that for about 3-4 years. Jumped around a little bit. Then I sort of had a light bulb moment where I was with a client who, I don't know, they had like a few $100,000. I was with a client with a big asset management firm, and we were literally sitting there having a coffee. I had no real value to kind of add them beyond the fact that they got to speak to me. I was like, there's got to be more to it than this. And they were paying probably like a few £1,000s for the advice. All in ISAs, all sorted, had a load of pension income. I was like, I'm missing something here. And eventually I joined the firm that did what in the profession is called like lifestyle financial planning, like what's the money for? I was like, oh, okay, this is a bit more like it. What do we actually want to use the money for? And then eventually I decided to set up by myself because I just couldn't really find a firm that did it in the way that I wanted to. And then the name kind of came from, obviously like a lot of people live to work and that side of it. And I thought, actually, no, it's about working to live. It's what's the money for. It's about helping you live, a great life. So that's kind of where it came from, the name of it. And it's very much around what's the money for and how do you get people to live a great life with your money, because otherwise what's the point of money?
Lifestyle financial planning.
Yeah.
Is this a new thing? Is it something?
No, I mean, it's been around for a while. Like, if you think about financial advisors, you probably think, right.
Yeah, people switch it off, aren't they? Like,
run a mile.
Right.
Suit and tie. You need a pension. Give me your money, I'll set up a pension. We're going to talk to you about your money. And it kind of obviously puts people off. Mm-hmm. The level above that is kind of the financial planning. Okay, you've got this, and what does it kind of look like? And then the idea behind lifestyle financial planning is, well, what lifestyle do you want to live? Are you going to have enough money? Are you essentially going to be okay? I actually think there's probably a level beyond that. I don't quite know what it is yet, but something that's really kind of more transformational. But the conversation should be, okay, this is Tim, You're here. Where do you want to get to? What do you want your life to look like? What's important to you? How do you want to be spending your time? What's the money actually for? Not, I can just invest your money. So that is kind of the process. Lifestyle financial planning it's probably been around since around sort of 2000.
Yeah.
Majority of advisors are still very product led. Few more financial planning will do a cash flow. More again, probably less again, sort of lifestyle financial planning. I think there's a level probably beyond that where you're getting into coaching and having a conversation. I would say the conversation should be about the life first and not your money. Your money comes secondary, because if you don't know what you're trying to achieve, then how do you know what you need to be kind of doing?
So give me an example of like somebody,
Yeah, so I mean, most people know they need to invest more into their pensions, or should be saving money, or should be investing money. There's several reasons why they don't do it, but I would say probably the biggest reason they don't do it is it doesn't really mean anything to them. Like, your future self is a stranger to you. I'm investing for 20. I don't know that person. I don't really care about the person. Why am I going to go without this?
Yeah, because I want to live in the present moment. Everybody's in the fucking present moment, aren't they?
Exactly, and it's finding that balance between the two, because you've got to live for the now, because God forbid you go the other way and you save everything, you invest all your money, and you have no fun because you can do everything you want when you're 60, and then you get to 60 and you drop dead a week later.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens, you might not even get to 60. Mm-hmm. So you've got to balance out that, you want to live a great life now, but also you don't want to get to 60 and 65 and have absolutely no choices. Like, I'm not really a fan of the word retirement. I don't really buy into that, but for most people, they want to be able to make working a choice and making an option rather than I've got to work. Because we don't live in a world now for most people where you're breaking your back in the mind and you're completely knackered and you get to 60 or 65 and you've got to stop. Most people hopefully sort of enjoy what they do. We live in a world where you can pretty much probably do it anywhere. So I think there's going to be kind of a sea change in how people approach kind of money. But yeah, you want to know what that kind of money is for. I've got a client who was quite kind of stressed. They were sort of holding on to a business that they didn't really want to be kind of involved in because they didn't previously know that they could probably stop or didn't really need that money. And then through the financial planning and the stuff that we were doing, he's actually taken a step back. He's still employed by the company, but he's no longer like having the stress of it. And his wife said, well, I went for lunch with him recently, said it's like a different person because he's just not got all that stress.
Yeah.
So it's about that. Yes, you could just accrue money for money's sake, but what's the point? You know, if you want to just be like hashtags, you know, rich, surely there's more to it than that.
Surely.
You would hope so.
How does somebody get in touch with you then? What are some of the pain points somebody's got to kind of go, I need Ian in my life? What is it? Where am I in my life? Am I in my 40s? Am I in my where am I?
Yeah, so I typically, most of my clients are, I would say sort of 40s, mid 40s. I would say about 40s, there's a bit of a...
What have I done with my life?
Yeah, and there is, I'm not read a book, there's a book about people start searching for meaning in their 40s.
Yeah.
And, you know, what we want to call it, like soul-led or whatever it would be.
Yeah.
But there's greater impact, you know, am I happy? Am I enjoying what I'm doing? What does the future kind of hold? And then from the practical side of it, you probably maybe got kids that are a bit older, you've got a bit more money, you're probably in a position to start doing something and you're thinking, oh, actually, I don't want to get, you know, I need to be doing something sensible with it so that I know I'm going to be okay. Because most people, even if you've got money, they don't really know what it means to them, you know, in terms of the life.
Relationship there with it.
Yeah, you know, what actual life is it gonna lead, let me have? What am I going to be able to do? Does it mean that I can stop working at 60 if I want to? It might be 55. It might be actually, no, you're going to have to work till you're 67 because you're not going to have enough money, because you're going to want to have at least probably the life that you want now. I would say that's kind of like the starting point, and that's probably the idea behind lifestyle financial planning. The level above it is, well, what if you want more? What if you're miserable in your job and you want to kind of change your career? You know, so I think the 40s for me, I think people start thinking about it. Various kind of reasons. A lot of people come for a traditional reason, like I've got some pensions, I need to do something kind of with them. Call that like a presenting problem. If you go to the doctor, you sort of go, I've got this problem, but actually I've really got this problem. But I don't want to tell you about this yet. So it's about, for a lot of people, it's about helping people kind of move past that and go, okay, we'll get to the money stuff. The money stuff's important and there's stuff that you need to do, but actually let's find out about you and what's important to you. Let's start there. Let's have a conversation about your life. So yeah, I think it's for people who maybe want to see the bigger picture. What does the money actually mean to them? Maybe they're feeling kind of a little bit lost on that side of it. See, most people probably wait until, well, a lot of people maybe wait until they're about to retire. Ideally, you want to be probably 10, 15 years before that. And like I say, actually, I think for most people, it's not about retiring. I mean, I'll ask you the question, do you sit there thinking, I want to get to 60, 65 and stop working totally? I would argue a lot of people don't.
It's like them choices. Having them choices.
Yeah, because that's all money is. Money's a tool to help you live the life that you want. So if you do stuff kind of now and you take advantage of investing and compounding and all the boring financial stuff that's just going to kind of happen, it's going to give you more choices to live the life that you want. But if you don't know what that life looks like, then you're probably missing the picture. And I think that's probably the mistake most people go down.
I think everybody, don't they? Get that balance between money, financial, and who am I as a person, and what do I want from this? Yeah,
and there's a lot of levels. I mean, there's a lot of people don't like talking about money. There's a lot of stats out there about people, you know, what they'd rather share than actually talk about how much they kind of earn. It's like still that kind of taboo subject. And then you've got a load of emotions and how you feel about it. Like, just because you're incredibly smart people doesn't mean that you're good with money, because you're a human. you've got your own biases, you've got your own relationship with
Yeah, that's
money.
what I was working with Caroline from.
Yeah.
Obviously, seen that video, mate. That's fucking little Tim's relationship with money is it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good, and try to work through that, and then so can be more abundant, and I've got a good relationship with it. It's a weird one for me, money. The relationship I've got with it. I've always been told since I was little, money doesn't grow on trees. You've got to work hard for your money, like blah de blah de blah. And I'm literally hanging on to it like it's if I don't keep on working hard, I'm going to lose it all. Mm-hmm. And then I've got this other one where a lot of people that I know, not all of them, but a lot of millionaires that I know and stuff like that, they're cunts. And I'm thinking, if I earn as much money as you, I'm going to become a cunt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't want that. So I've got these two fucking things going on in me that I'm just thinking, okay, now I need to do some more inner work, not try and do more, and I need to try and be more.
Yeah, I had a really interesting one. So I always wanted a bigger house.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of like a thing. But I realised, to me, a bigger house equates to success.
Yeah.
So that's really why. It's not because I want a bigger house per se. And that was a few, and I thought, oh, that's quite actually interesting. It's got nothing to do with the house. It's got everything to do with what that kind of portrays. But it's really interesting because I think for a lot of people, there's this kind of, well, if I get to this point, or if I earn this much money, then I'll feel like I'm financially secure. And I was reading a book, I've forgotten what the guy, Michael O'Neill, he's a super coach guy. And he was telling me about talking about one of his clients who was completely worried that he was going to lose all his money.
Yeah.
And this guy had 300 million. And he still woke up every day thinking that was going to be the day. And that's the point he makes. He was like, once I realised that there was no magic number that was going to make it, if that guy's got 300 million and he's worried about losing it, it's not about how much money you've got. It's about that relationship with that money, and that's where, again, people don't really look at that.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to get someone to take action and change, if I'm, in your case, telling you that you need to invest X amount a month into your pensions, but you're going, but my money, where's it going?
And lose it tomorrow.
You're going to want to hold on to that, and if you don't have that, I can make you the best financial plan in the world, brilliant investments and all that kind of stuff. You're probably not going to do it because we haven't addressed that bit. Yeah.
How do you tell people to address that bit? Do they work with you? What?
Yeah, there's different ways. I did a coaching qualification about 2 or 3 months ago, which was really eye-opening, probably the best thing I've done in my career. I've got all the technical qualifications you could possibly kind of wish for, but this was probably the most, I think, impactful, just learning about listening to people, asking questions and shutting up, which is difficult to do, especially as someone who wants to give advice, problem solving in your head. So I think it's having that kind of conversation. I think you've got to probably be kind of quite gentle with it. It's probably something over time. For most people, if they come into a financial advisor and they're going to go, let's start talking about your deepest memory about money, they're probably going to close up a bit. But I think, there's a way of kind of exploring it, and you'll get certain phrases. I have a client who the phrase he uses, he just wanted to know that the wolf was no longer at the door. That was the kind of the phrase, and I thought, that's quite an interesting way of doing it. So it will kind of sort of come out, and I think also it helps if you sort of know, okay, well, if we do these things, it's going to help me kind of hear and to do these things, and I'm almost making it a bit more kind of optimistic. For me, financial planning, financial life planning, lifestyle financial planning, whatever you want to call it, should be an enjoyable conversation.
Yeah.
Because it's about your life and what you want to do. The money is just the thing to enable you to do it. But most people think, oh, we're just going to, I don't want to talk to someone about money. I don't want to go to see a stranger about money because it's not a comfortable conversation.
Yeah, there's no trust there, is there?
No trust there. I'm going to get judged. He's going to think I'm an idiot. He's going to confuse me with jargon. He's going to be a wanker in a suit, and he's just going to tell me to invest. And I think that's what puts people off. But I feel like that's probably, hopefully, changing. But it's getting people over that probably hump about what their expectation of what it's going to be like is. I don't think anyone has ever done proper financial planning or lifestyle financial planning and regretted doing it. I think maybe people have regretted getting, a financial advisor in and just not had that. Because if the conversation is all about money, all you're thinking is all this person cares about is investing my money. It's just about the money to them. It's not about the person. That's because they're coming at it, to me, the wrong way on it.
It's just not prevalent, mate, is it? It's not prevalent in schools, what you're talking about. It's not sort of like prevalent in the, people on social media do financial advice and this is how to make money and stuff like that, but they're not talking about the bit that you are. It's just that relationship with money. People stop themselves making more money because of the trauma attached to it. Like this, what you're talking about is not. It's not out there really.
No, and from a financial education thing, it's crazy that basics aren't taught in school. Like some really simple stuff would help a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just to get the basics, get the foundations. But like you say, if you've got a difficult relationship with money or
not really sexy, is it, what you're selling?
No.
In a way. No. You know what I mean? People either want, I've made fucking £1 million in what's it by doing investments in this person, or the other end, and you're just like, you're kind of sitting in this middle gap where it's quite hard to say.
Yeah, it's like, well,
what the fuck's this bloke
come and have an uncomfortable
about?
conversation about money. And a lot of people, they want to get, it's about getting rich for the sake of getting rich, or, get rich quick. I mean, the question I always get asked from complete strangers is, it's the most annoying question in the world. What assets should I be investing in?
Yeah.
People always ask that kind of question. You're like, well, it depends on lots of kind of factors, but no one knows the answer to that question. No one sits here and goes, oh, I know that is the geographic region, or that's the fund to be in, or that's... Because no one's got a crystal ball. No one knows what the markets are going to do over the next 3 to 6 months. We know over the long term, evidence suggests that it goes up. But if you're sort of selling that, I think you're being a little bit dishonest, because no one can kind of know. It's about doing the right things. Like investing doesn't have to be like over top. It can be quite simple. It can be very effective. There's low cost, evidence based approach that will get you what the market returns. But you'll always have that person like, well, I don't want that. I want more than that and this, and it's like, but you're never going to win. You're never going to be happy, because you're always going to be chasing something. So you've got to be a little bit careful.
Can you talk to me about pensions a little bit?
Yeah.
And what should people be doing, and what are pensions looking like these days?
So for me, I would say if you're a business owner, your pensions are pretty much a no-brainer from a financial planning perspective. The tax benefits are amazing on it at the moment.
Yeah.
This is pre-October budget, so we'll see what happens on that. But corporation tax relief, you get tax relief on it. One of the beauties of pensions is the fact that you can't actually get it until you're 57, 58. A lot of people obviously don't like that, but it means that you're likely to behave yourself really well to do it. In terms of how the investments will work, I think this is where it's kind of like a lack of education for people, because people are really panicked about it losing money. Basically, if they invest the money, they're worried about losing it. But that kind of comes from not really understanding risk. Like, you could invest your money in a great fund and it could fall 20, 25% literally in the next kind of month. That's a reality of it. It only becomes a problem if at that point where it drops 20, 25% go, that hurt too much.
Right. You're emotionally attached to
I'm going to sell. Okay, I'm going to sell out at this point. It's okay, fine. When are you going to go back in? I'm going to go back in when it's gone up. Okay, so you basically wait for it to go up, paid in at a higher price. And people do that, and there's a great guy called Carl Richards, and he has a very simple sketch which basically shows that and goes repeat till broke. People buy high, they sell low.
Repeat till broke.
And the UK are apparently really, really bad for
so
it.
Their emotional thing is because it's going up, they'll buy at that point, go down, and just...
the market's doing really well, I'm going to invest. Well, actually, you should have invested when markets were down. But then markets might be at a high point now, they might be at a low point. the best time to invest is when you've got the money to invest, but you've got to know what that journey is going to be like. There aren't investments that do 7-8% every year. Just standard, it goes up. You'll have some years where it might do 20-25%. You might have years where it drops 20%. During the course of the year, you should expect it to probably drop, because you want to be investing in equities. So equities are basically shares in companies. So you want to be investing in what we call like the great companies of the world, because that's going to generate kind of growth.
You think everybody should be doing that?
For a long term, if you've got sort of 5+ years, okay, that will probably be your tipping point. What you don't want to do is ever invest money in, let's say you wanted to buy a house in 2 years' time, you've got a deposit of £50,000. If you invest that money and it happened to drop in value and you've got £40,000, now you can't buy the house that you wanted. So you shouldn't be doing anything. If it's short term, up to 5 years, it's probably cash or savings. But if you want to build wealth long term, it needs to be a decent weight in equities, rather than sort of safe investments, which would be like your cash in bonds and things that pay kind of interest. You want to sort of benefit from the innovation of these companies, the share price going up, dividends being paid. Over the long term, that's what compounds, that's what grows your kind of wealth. But it doesn't go in a straight line, it goes up and down. You've got to roll with it. So you've got to be able to handle your emotions, because you're designed to be bad at investing, because it's emotional. Like making a 20% gain doesn't feel as good compared to making a 20% loss. It hurts more. I think it's like twice as much. So that's what you're working almost against yourself. Like the best thing to do is invest and stare out the window.
Yeah, and you just let's just see what it does.
Yeah, because then you won't be kind of messing around with it. Where people trip themselves up is go, oh, that fund's done better, so I'll switch to that fund, or I think the market's going to fall, or can this. No one knows when that's going to happen. And if you're investing over 10, 15, 20 years, you probably should expect for significant ones every 2-3 years. But over the long term, the evidence suggests markets have always gone up. Yeah. If you've got to be an optimist to invest, you've got to believe the world's getting better, companies are going to make things. If you look at your phone now compared to 20 years ago, AI, people always invest in, always innovation. That's what you're buying. The great companies of the world, smart people making things that people are going to want to buy. You've got to believe in that things are going to get better in the future. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to sort of remain. If you're a pessimist, you're going to struggle, I think.
Okay, well, I don't think I'm ready, and I'm not ready. So go back to the pensions bit for me. So it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
From a tax perspective, it absolutely is. You can put, depending on your earnings, I think part of the problem with financial products in general is they are complicated because the tax system is so kind of complicated. But let's say you're a business owner, you've got a pension, you pay into the pension, you're going to get corporation tax relief.
Yeah.
So that could be 19%, headline rate of 25%, or weirdly it could be 26.5% because of the weird tapering thing that they've got. You don't pay any income tax on it, there's no national insurance contributions on it, so it's a really tax efficient vehicle. Once you invest in that money, it's going to grow tax free within that. There's no tax to pay on the capital at the moment. Then if you want to pull that money out when you reach 57, 58, get 25% tax free. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of it is taxed to whatever your income tax is. So that could be 20%, could be 40%, but you can manage that and you can kind of plan sort of around it. So really, really good vehicle for it. At the moment, again, it's outside of your estate for inheritance tax, so there's loads of benefits, and you can put 60,000 in each year. So everyone sort of starts with that as long as you earn enough money. If you earn too much money, and this is where it gets complicated, over like 270,000, they start taking it off you, they start reducing down the amount that you can actually put in. But essentially, for most people, it's whatever you earn in that year. So if you earn 40,000, you can put 40,000 into a pension. If you earn 60,000, you can put 60,000 into pension. If you earn 70,000, you can put 60,000 into the pension and get tax relief on it. But you can go back and use your previous years as well. So, there's lots of things that you can kind of do. So I think it's a really great vehicle. If you've got money in the business that you don't need, that's just sitting in cash, and okay, it might be getting a slightly better return than it was. It's probably still not kind of great. You can put that money to work for your future self. But that's kind of the education bit. What the investments does will depend on how much you're paying for the investment, how much you've got invested in equities, how you kind of behave yourself, and getting in a decent fund that's diversified. The investing bit shouldn't be kind of overly complicated. It's, low cost, globally diversified, let it do its work. Behaving yourself is the difficult thing.
So is this what people do? Come and sit down with you? They obviously go through, the reason for it, and then you advise them on, let's do this, let's do that. And then what do they do? Meet with you once a month and you go through it, or what?
So typically the way it works is, for most people, we'll have like, call it like a discovery meeting. We'll have an initial chat, and that'll be kind of like, obviously, what do you want to get out of this meeting? But essentially, we want to find out about them as a person, what's important to them, a bit about their situation, but it's not like you need to bring a spreadsheet of all your money. I'm not actually interested really in that point. I want to understand that person. And then we do kind of like a life planning meeting or a vision meeting, where you are, where you want to get to, what's important to you, how does your money kind of fit into that. We build out like a cash flow model so we can show you, if you do these things, this means you could potentially start working at 60 or 55. This is how much you need to be putting in. This is the investment returns that you kind of want to get. Level beyond that is then sort of the product stuff. So these are the pensions you need. This is how, investment. We want to have a conversation around investing, because people don't. Yeah. No, like most people will do a risk profile and they'll probably come out as quite low risk. But if you're low risk, then you're going to probably get lower returns, because the more risk you take, the more potential for higher returns. So it's having that education bit and going, look, you're investing in thousands of companies, in the UK, in the US, in Europe, all these kind of things that we're building up to reduce risk as much as possible. There's still risk, it's still going to go up and down, but where there are big mistakes that people make. So let's take someone who's in a corporate role and they get shares in their own company. So they get paid by the company and they got shares in the company, and because it's an American company, they absolutely love it. It's always going to go up. It's going to, build that. But what happens if that company goes bust? Like, does a Kodak or does a Blockbuster? So it's about making sure you understand the risk, reducing risk where you can, diversifying your portfolios on that. So we want to have an education bit around that. So when the investment journey happens, they're not like, I didn't know it's going to do this. It's not going to be the same. We're going to talk about it. It's going to hurt more when it actually happens, but at least we're kind of starting that journey. Then level beyond that is protecting yourself, making sure you've got the right insurances in place on that. And then for me, it's about the financial planning process, because I take yourself, Tim, I'd imagine the stuff that's happened over the last 5 years, a lot of it was unexpected, a lot of changes, a lot of happened. So if you made a plan, you can guarantee that plan's already out of date. So you want to be working with someone, okay, well, this is happening, I want to do this in the business. And I think that for me is about having someone that really understands what's driving you, what's important to you. If there's money in the business, okay, yes, you could do this with your pension, but actually you say you want to grow or you want to invest it back in the business, that's fine, but let's have kind of a conversation about that, because it's got to be geared around you. It's advice. And then tax planning once a year, and then a financial planning meeting, but being on the phone when life changes, which it happens.
Often.
And hopefully it's not too bad, but for some people it is, unfortunately.
So powerful, mate, isn't it, what you're doing?
It's
the strategical approach is really beautiful. Obviously people need that. I see many businesses coming here and they kind of what a logo on a website, want to get out there, the fluffy stuff but they don't know the numbers, they don't know the strategy. Have you got the cash flow? It's just getting the balance of both of those. Either someone's really good at that, has not got a good brand, or somebody's got a really good brand and wants it but don't know that, and without the two balances, like, you're snookered.
Yeah, and a lot of people, some people have a vision, like within the business, they hopefully have some sort of business plan. They'll have some vision for the business, but they won't have that in their personal life. And I always say, the business and the personal side, it overlaps. You're a business owner, the business is essentially funding your personal life. So you should have a plan there, but have a plan here.
Yeah.
So they're kind of in unison.
Vision thing, the vision is massive as well, and understanding their vision from your aspect of where they want to get to.
Yeah, and I think, and I don't think this is something I've possibly been great at, is trying to go in with no assumptions about people, because my values and my beliefs and how I want to live my life is not the same as the person sitting opposite me. And it's not,
that's a tricky one, isn't it? I never thought of that. Yeah.
And it's not for me to kind of judge, and
do you really want that from your life? Do you really want that?
Yeah, and you could possibly get out, because there's certain people that maybe they do really love working, and that's what they kind of want to do. It's, and from a if you're working with a financial plan, you've got to get on with the person, you've got to connect with them, you've got to understand kind of, you've probably got to be a little bit aligned in what you do. But there might be some people that want to do something that's sort of, I'm like, well, I wouldn't do that, but it's not my life, it's about them. And I think sometimes going with assumptions, like people want to, I think a lot of what people probably do is they make an assumption about, well, people want to get to 60, 65 and retire. If you ask most people when they want to retire, they'll probably say 65 or 60. Mm-hmm. Okay, why 65? I don't know. Because
just seems like the number.
Seems like the number. Out there. Okay, well, let's explore. Or I want to get to 60 because my parent died at 62. Right. I don't want to. Yeah. There's always like a story kind of behind that, and that's where you've got to understand that kind of person. So I think going in, listening to a person, shutting up, asking questions, and letting them talk. I don't know if you've come across this book, but there's a great book by a lady called Nancy Klein. It's called Time to Think, and it's about how you create a thinking environment. Because generally, what happens if we have a conversation, you'll start talking, and let's say we're talking, like, if I ask a question about where you're going on holiday, and you'll go, oh, I'm going to Spain. You go, oh, I'm going to Spain this year. Yeah, I'm going to the... I've hijacked the conversation. Or you say something and I go, I'll throw in some solutions and some problems.
What are you doing this weekend? Oh, well, I'm this weekend. I'm just like, do you really want to know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and literally you've interrupted the person before, and this came out of the coaching course. I was like, I don't do that. Oh God, I do that. And like, it was eye-opening. We were doing like these role plays, and I'm having the conversation with the person, and my mind, I'm like, you're sitting here thinking about how to solve the problems of the person in front of you. You're not listening to the person that's in front of you. So that's what I say. I think that's the move. Like, is eventually that advice piece, or in fact, that's going to get commoditized. AI, whatever. People can kind of do that. What people don't have is a space to have someone that's actually going to listen to them, give them the space to explore, their mind, their feelings, what they want their life to kind of look like. So it's kind of it's a little bit coaching. There's obviously the financial planning bit as well, and it's kind of how do you bring those two together? Because I think we're, as a financial planner and financial planners in general, we're kind of uniquely positioned, because everything that someone wants to do probably got some money aspect to it. So we're uniquely positioned to help them in that part of it. There may be levels beyond that where they need to go to business coach or a life coach or even therapy.
Plant medicine.
But ultimately we want to connect with that person as a human being and have that conversation. I think for a lot of people it's very, very different. But you've got to be kind of invested in that. If you're that person that no, I just want set my pension, set my investments, then I think you're missing the kind of the point, because we're never going to win that, because there's always going to be because no one knows what the best investment fund is going to be. If we did, you wouldn't need anyone, and you wouldn't tell anyone. You'd just be sitting there getting kind of rich. So I think there's a big change, and it's that perception of what we do to actually what's it about. And like I say, I think the mistake people make is they don't think about what the money's for, what they're going to be able to do, what's the life they want to live. It's out of sync, I would say.
Yeah, I did this session with Caroline, the second one I did with Caroline, We were talking about my relationship with money, and we were talking about the people that I know who are cunts and stuff like that. And then she did this technique with me about like, okay, how much you want to earn. So I'm at a position, and I'm like, fucking, that feels a bit uncomfortable, me saying that I can earn that much. She went, right, okay, so we'll do this technique about breathing in and breathing out. And we got to a certain point, and I swear to God, I had this figure in my head, and my body, as I'm doing it, started shaking, because my nervous system would not let me fucking earn
receive
that
it. Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on
Yeah.
here? Like, wow, it's just like beautiful work, mate. And I'm like, I could have all the financial planning advice in the world, right? But if my relationship does not change with it, I'm not going to allow myself to do that. I'm a grafter, me. I do, but I need to be more, talking to people like yourself. This podcast for me, really, getting advice from you, getting advice from Caroline, and sharing it with other people is just a bonus.
Yeah.
But for me to have people like you in my life who can kind of go, there's a different way here, Tim. There's a different way of thinking. You don't need to be like that. Because my mum became bankrupt. You know what I mean? I'm fucking the wolves at the fucking door all the time with me. Mm-hmm. Thinking, fucking hell, we haven't I've not had an olive for 10 years. And I think I had 5 days off the other day. Fucking hell,
Yeah.
Little Tim's like, what are you going to lose it, Tim? You're going to lose it. Everybody's going to fucking come and take it away from you.
Yeah.
Like, fucking hell, working on that, mate, is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
The hardest thing.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's being explored more in terms of. It's tricky because there's kind of like financial coaching.
Yeah.
But depending on who's doing financial coaching, it's not really coaching. It's basically saying, I'd say it's more like a financial trainer or mentor. Like you need to. Yeah. 3 to 6 months as an emergency fund. You need to be investing monthly. You need to be doing this. You need the right insurances in place. Yeah. But coaching around, okay, well, let's kind of explore that. For a lot of people, I think it's a lack of awareness. Yeah. Like the reality of your financial position might be very different to what it actually is. It might be better. It might be worse. For some people, it's probably worse than they think it is. Yeah. But what most people probably do is if I bury my head in the stand and I don't worry about it, then I don't have to worry about it.
It'll sort itself out. Yeah.
Until it becomes so painful that you go,
be right, fucking hell.
Oh, crap.
Which is a lot of people, yeah?
Oh, most people, I would say. I think for a lot of people. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why a lot of people don't take or do financial planning or take kind of advice, because you've got to be...
And you've got to spend money for the financial planning as well.
Yeah. You invest your money in it. You've got to be vulnerable with a total stranger. Talk to them about something that you don't talk to anybody about, probably not even your spouse or your partner. So it is a challenge. So it's probably, for most people, they wait until the pain is so great that they haven't really probably got a choice in it. And oftentimes it's not as bad. I always say, like, the thing about knowing where you are currently, you can start doing things about it. Yeah. It might be better or worse than you think it is, but at least you know, and then you can start doing something. Or so, like, you've got this. Actually, you're in a better financial position than you think. If you do these basics, in the background, you're going to be in the ballpark of where you want to kind of be. The layer on that is obviously the personal relationship, the emotions, how you feel about money. That's probably the challenging bit. But I think having a financial plan or doing financial plan is going to help most people. Yeah.
Kind of take back control of their lives in a way. I feel that taking control of my life is a empowering thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's like, okay, I'm here, and if I do these things, I'm going to get close to where I want, and life's going to change along the way. I'm going to adapt, and we're going to plan. But that's what it is. Most people, a lot of clients go, I wish I'd done it sooner, because they've got that clarity. They understand what their money actually means to them. Yeah. Like, because you could have hundreds of £1,000s invested. It doesn't necessarily feel like you've got financial security. Because if you don't know what it means to you, then you're still in the dark, aren't you? Yeah. And that's the thing. And also it's like, okay, well, kind of, if I do these things, then this is the life I'm going to get to live. Because I these are the things that are important to me at the moment. Okay, great. Well, let's make sure we're doing that. and taking care of this, but let's cut out some of the stuff that maybe isn't important to you. Like for most people, they should probably spend money that they don't probably know that they're kind of spending. I'm not a fan of budgeting per se, but I think like having an intentional spending plan, you know, so that you can spend money on these things, you know, these are things that are important to you. I'm not going to scrimp and save on these things, but I will on these things that are not particularly important to me. So if I can say, like, I'm not particularly like a car person, okay? And again, talking about making assumptions or putting your own minds up, someone might spend like 700, 800 pounds on a car, say, and then moan about the fact that they're not taking holidays and say the most important thing to them is spending time with their children. But okay, but you're spending 800 pounds here on something, but you said this is important to you. Oh, yeah, interesting. Equally, you might be a massive car person that makes you really, really happy and brings you all the joy. So it's not to say that that's wrong, but it's just, is that connected with your value? And people don't kind of think about it.
You trigger the fuck out of people, you don't you? It's just like, how dare you say that?
Yeah. Well,
but people need that, don't they? They need that accountability. They need saying, look, mate, fucking, it's not right, this.
Yeah.
It's not right. Spotify account, you're paying for a Spotify account, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm just like, do you really need that Spotify account?
Well, this thing, like the classic one I always like, which annoys me, is if you stop drinking coffee every day from like Starbucks.
I hear that a lot. That's the beauty, that, isn't it?
And invested all that money.
But I fucking love Starbucks.
Yeah, okay, so what, you're going to deprive yourself of joy for 15, 20 years? Okay, now, admittedly, if you're spending £25 a day, then, you know, maybe you want to do something about it. But ultimately, having that cup of coffee every day, not having that is probably not going to get you financial kind of freedom. There's probably bigger, more impactful things. You know, how much you're paying for investments, how are they invested, what returns are you potentially getting, how much you're paying into your pensions, how much is sitting in cash. You know, let's not focus too much on the coffee. I think it's really annoying because, you know, like the coffee might be like, well, that's my time to myself.
That's my thing, man.
And that's what I enjoy, and it gives me happiness. And okay, so you know, that's just a classic example of generic advice that just doesn't kind of wash. But that's the thing, isn't it? Being intentional and understanding what's important to you. Are you happy with the stuff that you're doing?
Yeah.
What does your life look like? That kind of thing.
My weird one is like Spotify accounts. You spend a certain amount looking. I can get it for free. I just have to listen to a few ads.
Yeah.
But that money goes to my food for my dog a month.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just like, I'd listen to a couple of ads. I'm not really asked.
Yeah. But financial advice to pets. Don't have pets. As a dog owner myself, having dogs, that's the surefire way to
fucking hell.
To bankrupt
the
yourself.
emotion, I know.
Yeah.
£92 a month I pay for insurance for because he's at a certain age, and then oh my fucking god, but it just brings me so much fucking joy.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's your vision then, mate? What's your...
It's funny this, because here's a classic example of struggling with kind of your own advice. I was thinking about this on the way over, and I get torn. So for me, it's all about creating experiences for my family. That's kind of like my ultimate goal. What is money for me? It's really kind of about that. From a business perspective, I mean, I struggle with the same thing of everyone. You know, am I good enough to grow it to this? Is it good enough to be that? Yeah. I feel like I've been playing quite kind of probably safe with the business. Yeah. You know, to put a kind of a marker on it and go like, well, actually, I could build like a decent size, not like massive, but 5 to 10 people business. Like at the moment, it's myself. I outsource admin. I outsource report kind of writing. For me, it's always kind of having that balance. But I have a similar thing. You know, you've got to work hard to get that, and I have a thing about that I don't work hard enough. It's you know, if we want to go into, you know, Caroline-esque things like from kind of being younger and certain things. So I think for me, for my vision, I think it probably needs a little bit of work, but ultimately, you know, a lifestyle business, I'd like to get to the point where I can work 9 to 10 months of the year, and I'll do that, you know, long up, like, you know, kind of as long as possible. Would I grow it to something bigger? That's always the thing that's kind of in the back of the mind. So it's a tricky one. on that, because you kind of go back and forth and you think, I'm playing like a little bit safe, but then equally it's tough running a business. It's tough sometimes cutting through the noise, and like I say, it's not something that most people want to deal with.
No, I mean, I've looked at yours. Obviously, like Caroline says, someone's amazing, then I know because you're a fucking brother, and you're going to be amazing anyway,
yeah,
right?
She's a bit biased.
You don't. You come off better here than you do on your Instagram.
Right.
I don't believe you're showing up properly.
Right.
You're not delivering this message.
Okay.
And it's really important that you do, mate.
Yeah.
A lot of people need to hear this.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful that you come on and we can share this out to the world, mate, because it's so important, this taking back control of your life, understanding who I am, taking control of your finances, taking control of you. Everybody, there's a lot of people lost and disconnected, and you're just burying your head in the sand. It'll be all right. It'll work out.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You need to take control of it.
Yeah, and I think that's the challenge, isn't it? It's that I always feel like it's still, I'm doing it the way like kind of everyone else does it, and I think maybe it's getting comfortable owning that.
I think you'll do it once you've understood your vision a bit more.
Yeah.
I think you know your vision. I don't know if you just want to say it out loud because then it becomes a reality.
Maybe.
But you can help so many people out, mate, can't you? Just giving them freedom. Is that financial freedom or just freedom in general? I think it is just freedom in general. Having the choices to be with the kids, to do that, whatever that is. It's so powerful.
Yeah, and that's ultimately it, isn't it? People want that choice, that opportunity. It's all about, for me, it's that, you want to live a great life now, you want to live a great life in the future. How do you do that? Understand what that great life looks like to you, and then, build it up from that. But yeah, I'll take that on the vision. It's something I need to work on.
I appreciate it, mate. Thank you. How can people find you? If they want to work with you, mate, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so website is worktolivefinancialplanning.com. LinkedIn, I'm on there. I think it's Work to Live FP. And then Instagram, it's at Work to Live FP, I think it is.
Just get in touch with you. Have a discovery meeting.
Drop us a DM, drop us a message. Just have an initial chat. No obligation. Pretty informal. Just have a chat about things and kind of go from there.
Appreciate you. Thank
Cheers,
you, mate.
Tim.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Goodbye.
Tim Marner, what? You're bragging with the best. Tim Marner, what? You're bragging with the best.